Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob. We're back on the Corona questions today because you want answers. You want to know what's going on. So we're going to help you out. And remember, we do this every single week. Ask Rob and Rob is a service to help you. So let's give you that number so you can get your questions in.
Yep, whether you want to know about coronavirus or if you're thinking beyond that, how you're going to build your portfolio once this all passes, we would love to hear from you. You can give us a call on 013 808 00035 or you can go to propertyhub.net/ask. We heard some of your questions last week. We're likely to hear some of your questions again next week. But this week, as is happening a lot at the moment, we've just got so many different questions coming in that what we're doing is like finding the ones that cluster around different subjects and then talking about the subjects more generally because there is just so much that people understandably want to know at the moment. So let's do that right now. And pleasingly, Rob, it seems like people are concerned for us because a lot of people have been asking how coronavirus has affected our portfolios personally.
Well, so far, not too bad. So far. So, in my portfolio, I have one property that's become vacant. I had international students in there and they have disappeared. So that property needs to be let out. But everything else right now is ticking along, so can't complain. Rob, how are things faring for you?
Pretty similar, actually. I was very lucky because I didn't have any properties empty being marketed at the point that this all started. When you've got an empty property, well, that's worse than having a tenant who may or may not pay because you're not going to get any income from that. I've so far only got one tenant who has not paid the rent. I don't know if the rent due date has been up for all of them yet, but so far I'm only aware of one who hasn't paid and hasn't been in touch with the agent to say why. They just haven't paid. That's okay, that's understandable. It'd be better if they had been in touch and tried to arrange something, but these things happen. I know lots of people are in very difficult positions, so far not bad at all. Are we both just lucky? Maybe, but from what we're seeing with Property Hub lets as well, things don't seem to be as bad in terms of missed rents as you might have feared.
Yeah, and I think it helps by having a portfolio because you can take a overall view. If I only had one property and that property had become vacant, then my feelings around this would probably be a lot more negative and a lot more heightened. And I would probably think that the whole of property is doomed. But because I've got a portfolio, I can just go, okay, well, how is this looking? And it may have been slightly luckier than average. Who knows? I might be unlucky. Maybe having one is unlucky. Who knows? But because I've got a wider portfolio, I can relax. I relax not just on an emotional level, but a financial level as well, because the other properties will help pick up the slack. Yes, would I like the income? Of course. Who wouldn't? But is it going to hurt me by it not being in for a few months? No, because the portfolio de-risks me. So not only does it help you emotionally, but it helps you financially. And you've got to be careful if you do only own one or two properties that you don't over exaggerate your viewpoints, particularly if you're not having a lot of luck right now.
This kind of leads us into the other topic that we've had lots of questions around, which is, should I take a mortgage holiday? So we've cleared up on the podcast in the past that mortgage holidays are there. They are applicable for everyone, whether you're an individual or a limited company. You can, depending on your lender, take up to a few months of not having to make payments at all. So should you do that? Well, when you put it like that and you go, oh, well, you don't have to make any payments for a few months and the lender's fine with that, you might think, well, that's a no-brainer because you're no worse off. And when else do you ever have a chance to do that? But I think it's important to make a distinction here between profit and cash flow. So if you take a mortgage holiday, it doesn't mean that you never have to make those payments. It means that those payments are deferred. Interest is still building up on the balance. So over the entire mortgage term, if you take a mortgage holiday, you'll end up paying slightly more. It is only slightly more because rates are so low, but it's a bit. And I've also heard that if you take a mortgage holiday, it can impede your ability to do product transfers with the same lender. That's only something I've heard anecdotally, but apparently some lenders are not keen on doing product switches and things like that if you've taken up the holiday. So if you are living purely off your rental income, or if you've only got one or two properties and you're not getting any income from those and you're unable from your job to support both those properties, or maybe you've lost your job, then in those situations, it can be a real lifeline. But that doesn't mean everyone should rush to do it as a default. I know from speaking before the podcast, Rob, that you're not taking up any offers of mortgage holidays, nor am I, because we don't need to. It would make the cash flow a bit better, but it's not necessary right now. So I think it's important to make that point that this isn't like a free money, must do it type situation.
No, it's not. So don't rush into it. If you don't need the cash flow, then possibly hold off from doing it. You maybe want to do it in the future if things change. But for now, if your cash flow is reasonably strong, then you're probably best off holding off. It's not a no-brainer for everyone. It's great for some people, but not essential for everyone. But what is essential is that you join us next week for Ask Rob and Rob. We'll be back with more of your questions. And of course, you've got the main event, the Property Podcast on Thursday. And you lucky seven-toes, you've got the market update, the triple whammy on Friday. So 3 podcasts a week at the moment. I hope you're enjoying them. Different types of content in each podcast. But with so much happening in the world right now, I think everyone probably needs it. So until then, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.